Hi guys, so we're having a quick chat about gut health today. If you make a comment through this video, you will go on the draw for a Healthy Food Guide digital subscription for free, for a 12-month subscription. So I've got Bex here today, who is one of our students on placement here. So yeah, we're going to chat about gut health. So our gut health influences all the rest of our health. So that includes whether we recover quickly from illness, whether we get sick very often. It also influences weight gain and loss, and it can even affect our mood and our mental health, as well as all the parts that help our immune system to function properly. So in our guts we have helpful and harmful bacteria, and they have our gut bugs, and there are millions and millions of these cells and thousands of different types. And keeping the balance of those, of the more helpful bacteria than harmful, keeps us healthy. And when the scale gets tipped to being more harmful bacteria in the gut, that's when we start to suffer short-term and long-term issues. And they can range from poor digestion, yeast infections like thrush, it can affect skin complaints like eczema, as well as generally not feeling your best. So, Bex, what are some things that can tip the scales to having more harmful bacteria in your gut?
So the use of antibiotics, too much use can wipe out harmful and helpful bacteria, so just trying not to overuse them. The use of too much processed foods, so our packaged foods, they are high in saturated fat, sugars, and are really not ultimately good for us. And poor sleep and minimal exercise can be a real influence to bad gut health.
Yeah. And so tipping the balance back to having more helpful bacteria is to do with, as Bex said, making sure that we're moving regularly, making sure we're having good quality sleep, but also the food that we eat plays a massive role in how much of that helpful bacteria that we have. So it's really important, as Bex was saying, to limit the amount of processed food, particularly things that are high in sugar and refined flours, because harmful gut bugs really thrive on that stuff. So meet the recommendations for daily fibre, which for adults is 30 grams a day, so that means have heaps of veggies and fruit, try and have as whole grain cereals as possible. One tip is to keep the skin on your veggies and fruit as much as possible, because that naturally increases the fibre. And yeah, choose whole grain sources of grains, because they keep the helpful gut bugs really happy, because what they do to survive and thrive and grow and do their work is they ferment all that stuff that our guts normally can't digest. So, what about prebiotics and probiotics, Bex?
Okay, so probiotics are helpful types of bacteria that benefit our health. Probiotics.
And those are found in fermented foods like sourdough bread, yogurt, sauerkraut, kimchi, kombucha, kefir, which are all making a big comeback at the moment. They're really popular foods. And so they have those probiotics in them, and they help our guts colonise or grow those different types of bacteria to tip that balance back to having less harmful and more helpful bacteria. You can also take them in supplement forms as powders and capsules and drinks, and I'd recommend that you talk to a pharmacist about which ones are the most beneficial, because some of them can cost a lot of money but won't have much of effect. And yeah, so get some advice around that if you're having those as supplement forms. But Bex, if we don't have something else, prebiotics, the probiotics aren't going to work. So what are the prebiotics?
Food sources which probiotics need to survive and thrive in your gut. So essentially they are used to recolonize the gut with helpful bacteria.
Yeah. And so those, this goes back to what we were saying before about the different types of food to help those probiotics, the helpful gut bugs. So they need the indigestible fibrous parts of plants, so the bits that we can't normally eat. That's what they live off, and that's how they grow and colonise and make sure that that balance is tipped towards more helpful. And they also produce different products like fatty acids that help the rest of our body, particularly our immune system, but also in lots of new studies around, they have a huge effect on our mental health, so they're really, really important. So yeah, if you're not having prebiotics, if you go and get probiotic supplements, they're not going to do a lot, because without the food for the probiotics to live off, they're just going to die off. So making sure that you have lots and lots of veggies and fibre in your diet, is a really good thing. So as Bex mentioned before, antibiotics is one of the things that can create this imbalance, and we're not saying don't take your antibiotics if you've been prescribed them, but just be aware that frequent use of antibiotics or using them for conditions that it's not going to affect, like using antibiotics for a cold, that's not going to be helpful, because it does tip it in the balance of those helpful bacteria being killed off along with the harmful bacteria, and it can just prolong how long you're sick. So after, stressing the word after you finish your course of antibiotics, then you can have probiotics, but don't take it while you're on the medication, because it will just counter the effect of your medication. So hopefully you guys have learned a couple of tips. Put in a comment below around what you've learned today, or something that you didn't know before, or even if you have tried some of these fermented foods and what you think of them. And we'll be back in a couple of weeks with a new topic, so stay tuned. Thanks very much.
Thank you.